Another brutal loss, another day, another brutal loss. I mean, this is just, it's getting hard, man. And we're
It's
down
the
to it.
same episode.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to spice it up somehow. Maybe we'll start talking about random Syracuse basketball players. Let's talk Gino Thorpe on this episode. No. It was a really brutal game. Like Syracuse, Virginia. We'll talk about it. We'll break it down. We'll give you your cheers and jeers. It's all on Locked On Syracuse. It's right now.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Owen Valentine with you on your Tuesday episode of Locked On Syracuse. Thanks for making it your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, the official sports book of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Tad bit of housekeeping. Sad to say it, Owen, but this is going to be my last week on the pod. I got to move on. I appreciate what the pod has done. I've enjoyed it, the listeners, but this will be my last week. I'll appear in one or two more episodes this week, but this is it for me. So, Owen, appreciate you, buddy. Before we get into this
I
Virginia breakdown,
appreciate you. And listeners, just so you know this as well, I won't let him leave. So he's going to have his goodbye week and his goodbye tour this week, but he'll be back. Relax.
Okay, we got to talk Virginia. This game was brutal. I mean, really brutal because once again, Syracuse says we're gonna win this game, and they tell the entire dome, "Hey guys, we're gonna win this game," and then they lose just so barely, so close. Judah was unreal in this game, hitting crazy shots. He was really, really good. 8 for 13 from the floor for 20 points. He did miss every three he took, including one that would have been pretty clutch, but what can you do? He still had a really, really good game. Outside of him, another dud from Girard. 2 7-point performances in a row. It keeps falling into the narrative that we bring up time and time again of this team goes as far as that man takes it. And imagine you went 3 for 12 tonight. You get a few more of those shots, you win the game. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a Joe Girard hater, as we all know, but I mean, that just hurts, dude. It really does. Malik played fine. That guy's just a grinder. I like him a lot, as we all know as well. But Taylor missed 4 threes. Chris Bell missed a couple threes. This team, it's sad because this team actually has so much talent, but we're just not going to see it all play out. And obviously they did it today without Benny Williams as well. It's announced after the game that he took a personal day. We are pro mental health on this podcast, so I'm glad Benny took the day that he thought he needed. So kudos to him. But I don't even know if his presence would have helped in this game. I mean, you don't know how Boeheim would have used him. I don't even know if that really makes so much of a difference. And I'm okay with Malik Brown playing 40 minutes. It really didn't seem like he got tired towards the end or anything like that. I thought he was fine. Jesse played an interesting game, obviously fouls out on that charge call late, which, I mean, I think that probably put the nail in the coffin. Do you agree, Owen, that possession where they were down 64-62, had the ball, Jesse drives, gets called for a charge, game's over right there.
That's it. That was it. And a brutal one just because it was there. And I mean, Vanity Fair does this thing with Billie Eilish where she does the same interview every single year. And it just feels like we're doing that right now. It's same episode, different game. Like it really is the same thing. Like, oh, they were close and then, oh, Jesse fouled out and that was just sort of it. Or, oh, they were close, but they missed a few shots, or oh, they were close, but they let the other team go on a big run to finish the game out. Right? It's the same thing every time, and it is infuriating. And it's infuriating because it doesn't change. And I guess that's redundant to say, but I mean, you think back to Miami where you're up 11 points and you cannot close. You think back to UNC where you're up 4 or 5 points down the stretch and you cannot close. You think back to this game when you're up 4 with 9 minutes to play and you let Virginia go on a 17-9 run to close out the game. It's the same thing. They lose the game the same way every time, and it is the worst because they bring you in. I said this the other day when the Seahawks lost in the playoffs. I'm a Seattle fan. Those of you that know me know that, but I'm a Seattle fan, right? I didn't think they were going to beat the 49ers in the playoffs, but they brought me in the first half. They kick a field goal as the first half expires to go up, and they're in the half winning a playoff game. And it's like, okay, holy hell, this is happening. That's what Syracuse basketball does. I didn't think for a second. Our episode that we recorded this morning, I said that there is not a way in my mind that I can rationalize saying Syracuse wins this basketball game. And they made me think they were going to win this basketball game. And that is what's frustrating. And it's not, and I was nasty to the refs on Twitter today. The refs were terrible. I will say that. The refs did not decide this game. This game was decided by Syracuse at the foul line. This game was decided by missed wide open layups in transition. This game was decided by the fact that Syracuse shot 3 for 15 from 3 in this basketball game. Okay? Yes, the refs had a couple of moments, and I was angry with the refs in those moments. Maybe I was projecting. Okay? But this is a team that needed something. And we are looking right now at a fan base that needs something. And Jeff Goodman tweeted today, Syracuse clinches the NIT. I don't know if they have clinched the NIT. This is a team with a horrid resume. And a stretch of basketball coming up where I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, this is a team that is struggling, and it's so frustrating because, as you said, it's not a bad basketball team. And there's a lot of talent on this roster, and it shows. Malik Brown balled out today. Judah Mintz balled out today. I feel like, and it's ironic, and I'm going to say this in frustration, but I'm not mad at Judah by any means. It is ironic to watch Judah shoot about 50% from the foul line today when probably 60% of his points today were foul line jumpers. That is the irony right there. Like, make it make sense for me, please, because I feel like he was 5 for 5 shooting in the first half with 5 foul line jumpers. And then he comes and he shoots 4 for 7 from the stripe as part of Syracuse's, what they shoot, 8 for 17, although those were the rebounds, 11 for 18 at the foul line today. That's how you lose a game. That's how you lose a game of basketball against a team that is better than you, is you do not take advantage of what is given to you. And that is what happened. Free throws, wide open threes, right? They're not missing contested threes. I'm fine with a missed contested three. They were missing open three-point looks, and they just did not have what it took to win down the stretch. They start games terribly every time. You think the 4 halves of basketball that Syracuse has played against Virginia this season, in this game, right, starts with a 10-2 Virginia run. Second half today starts with a 7-0 Virginia run. First game they play Virginia this year. The game starts with, I believe, an 11-2 run. And the second half starts with a 12-0 run. That is where you're losing games. Start a half of basketball with an ounce of competency. They cannot do it, and they cannot crawl from behind and win games, right? If they ditch those minutes, right, they start this game at the, whatever it was, the 4-minute point where they're now down 10-2. If that was the start of the game, they're winning basketball games. Slow starts are catching up to them. Offensive inefficiencies of catching up to them, the inability to close in basketball games, whether it's missed free throws, whether it is bad shot selection, whether it's Joe Girard no longer wants to shoot the basketball down a handful of points with 30 seconds left on the clock. Joe, what are you doing? What are you on the court for if you're not the one to take the three? Who do we want to take a three in that situation? Realistically, right? What are we looking for here? You've got 2 options, seemingly the case. You have Joe Girard, who shoots 38% from 3, or Judah Mintz, who shoots 20% from 3. Who? You don't need a degree in math to understand that. And Joe's passing up a relatively open look, given his standards, to give the ball to Judah at the 3-point line? What is happening? What is this? Did the crowd, did the fans, did Central New York finally get to Joe? And now he's done shooting? Like, is that what's happened? How do you not shoot that ball? It's so uncharacteristic. We talked about it, right? The pick game earlier in the year, where all hope was lost. He was playing terribly, and he chucked a Hail Mary that was the least advised shot we might have ever seen, and it goes in. Okay, I don't know what the thought process was there. I'm fired up, Bones, and I'm going to steal your thunder in your last week of episodes and talk the entire time. So I'm going to shut my mouth for a minute. Let us breathe, and maybe we can talk about the gambling advice that I gave you last week that was probably the worst advice you could have possibly fathomed. God, I'm fired up.
We are going to talk FanDuel real quick. Let's take a break. NFL playoffs are here. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the number one sports book in America. It's FanDuel, and if you're new to FanDuel, it's even better. They have so many great features that are making betting on sports fun and easy. New customers, you could join today and get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Owen, you gave me Kyle Juszczyk anytime, did not cash. Do you have a bet you want to talk about for the Super Bowl? The superb owl.
Last week I gave you juice. I gave you exact matchup Bengals over Niners. And I gave you, quote, easy money, don't overthink, just bet the Bengals. So take this next sentence incredibly lightly.
Maybe just fade him.
Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. He was at the game tonight.
It's true.
Give him the anytime touchdown. Because I don't even want to rationalize. Take that for what it's worth.
Eagles might not score a point. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use, so football fans don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Okay, we're talking Syracuse and Virginia. I just want to bring up a couple things. One, everybody talks about quad wins that are important for the tournament. Throw that right out because it doesn't even matter for this team. We got a tweet at us, I believe it was yesterday, a couple days ago when this comes out, from a man that we know as Pat from Syracuse from our time at WAER Sports Talk on the double overtime. But the Twitter world knows as @CusePride11. He said, Syracuse has beaten 3 teams with a winning record. Lehigh, Virginia Tech, who just crushed him in a rematch, and Cornell. And yet a week ago, the local media said we're in the mix. Listen, that's a crazy stat if it's right. If it's true. I just tried to fact check it. I think he's right. 3 teams with a winning record. Just 3. Lehigh, Virginia Tech, and Cornell are the only teams Syracuse has beaten that have a winning record. Throw out quad wins. Who cares about all that? Start beating teams that win. I mean, this team is done for, man. Like, come on. It's got to be. I mean, that is crazy of a statistic. I also want to say the other reason this loss, especially in the last couple, have really hurt is because we built up this stretch from North Carolina to Virginia, including the Virginia Tech game, that was incredibly pivotal in terms of tournament chances. And guess what? They dropped them all. We were like, oh, they got to win 2, man. They got to at least win 2. They dropped them all. So, I mean, it doesn't even matter. I mean, this team, they won 5 straight from Notre Dame to Cornell. They dropped the 2-point loss to Pittsburgh, picked up 2 more, lost to Virginia close away, then picked up 2 more, Virginia Tech and Notre Dame, lost to Miami close, beat the heck out of Georgia Tech by 17, and then lost the 3 biggest games of the year, bar none. So what do you want at this point, really? I mean, that was your chance. You're done now. I don't even know what there is to be excited for the rest of the season because what? Even if you win out at this point, maybe the momentum takes you into the tournament at that point, But I mean, the resume is not good. It's not good.
I just looked through all the records. I can't believe that's correct.
It's true.
Oh
It's
my
a crazy
God.
stat from Pat from Syracuse.
Richmond is 11
Shout
and
out
11.
Pat.
Richmond is 11 and 11. But yes, 3 teams with records. That's absurd.
Unreal.
That is absolutely
Pat
absurd.
from Syracuse, Owen and I have, we put in our shifts on the double overtime many a times. And Pat from Syracuse has called in many a times, probably almost every single time we hosted the show. And he's thrown stats at me before that I didn't like or stats that I did like, but this might take the cake. That's a crazy
This is my
stat.
favorite stat.
And shout out to him for it.
That's
that
awesome.
is a crazy stat, man.
I'm going to put my hand up here. I've been sitting on this info for a little while. The last 3 Syracuse basketball games that I have attended have been Virginia, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh.
Oh my God, you got to stop going, man. Were you at Miami too? You got to stop going, man.
The last 3 games I've been to were Virginia, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh. I've watched the same game 3 times. It was different, but it just feels the same, and that's why I think it is as raw as it is. A couple things that I want to address, and I'm curious your thoughts on this because we didn't really talk before we jumped on all too much. Chris Bell got yanked with 15 seconds into the first half, and did not come back in till a chunk of the way through the 2H.
Hey, Penny wasn't there. Somebody had to get the Penny treatment.
Mentally, I think I thought Justin Taylor was playing better than he was now that I'm looking at the box score. I think it was just because he got his 5 quickly, so I might have thought that he was playing better.
Here's my take on those 2 guys. Neither of them are exceptional. Neither of them are going to come in and blow your socks off. But, at the end of the day, when you don't really have a lot from either of those guys, you just got to pick the one that plays better defense, and maybe that is what Boeheim saw, because I think Taylor is a bigger body.
Yeah.
And in the zone,
better rebounder.
Yeah. So that's probably what he went with, because neither of their shots were falling. I mean, maybe you could argue he didn't leave Bell in long enough to get into a rhythm with, which there probably is merit to that. But, at the end of the day, it's what he did. And you're not even looking. I mean, that position, if Judah's going to play like he did tonight, all you really needed for a win was Girard to have more than 10. And he couldn't even give you 10. I hate to point at him and say it's his fault, but, am I supposed to not? The people out there who are always like, man, everybody gets so mad at Girard. That guy is one of the greatest. Okay, maybe the stats say that, and maybe you're looking at me right now like, I can't believe you'd go against that. But the guy put up 7 points. Yeah. Are you going to come back at me and say he was against Kihei Clark? Okay, well, then maybe he's not all that great if he can't score against a good defender. Am I crazy?
Wide open in transition by Kihei Clark. I don't even know if it was blocked. You just missed.
Yeah, so I don't.
He was missing open looks from 3.
I am not a blame Joe every single game, whatever he. I don't think he stinks anything like that. But you cannot deny when he didn't.
This was a bad game.
3 for 12. That's a bad game from Joe. It's hard not to point at him. If you're going to get the credit
is it not
when they win, you
perfectly
got to get
fitting?
the flack when they lose too. That's how it works when you're the leader.
Yeah, is it not perfectly fitting too that Kihei Clark throws the dagger? Can you please just get out of Virginia and go somewhere else, retire, get an actual day job, play overseas? I don't care. Just stop playing Syracuse. Kihei, I mean, another double-double against Syracuse. Ever heard that one before? He distributes like it's nobody's business. His composure is unbelievable. His patience, I'm envious of. It's awesome. And he did what he's done for the last 6 decades. He was actually there Boeheim's rookie season as a head coach, playing for Virginia basketball. That is Kihei Clark. This is absurd. I'm really angry just because this loss hurts. I mean, we were hyping this team up, right? Because they won 7 of their last 8. Basically early on in the new year. Then they lost to Virginia. All right, They bounce back with Virginia Tech and Notre Dame wins. And you've played a 5-game stretch of basketball where you're 1-4, but it really feels like there's no excuse for it to be that bad given the way you've played in this stretch. Because you played, 30 minutes of outstanding basketball against Virginia. And you played 35 minutes of outstanding basketball against UNC. And you played 30 to 35 minutes of outstanding basketball against Miami. And they cannot close. And I know you got a little crap for it last week, but a warranted question, the more I think about it, is why can't your team close, Jim Boeheim? Because here it is again.
Hilarious. Somebody said it'd be hilarious if somebody asked him that tonight.
Oh
I
my
thought that
God.
was pretty funny.
That would have been
Imagine that. That'd be crazy.
He got fired up at whoever asked about Benny. He gave some sass today as well.
Really?
Asking where Benny was, and I want to address that. I mean, first of all, I think Jordan Capozzi over at ESPN Syracuse tweeted this the second Boeheim said that Benny took a personal day and will be back at practice Wednesday. I think Jordan tweeted, if you listen closely, that is the sound of hundreds of mean tweets about Benny being deleted right now. He took a beating during this game on Twitter about how, it doesn't matter. He's gone. He sucks. We never needed him. Oh, this is where good players come to die. Boeheim's torched another good player. Every negative thought humanly possible. I will say a few people sprinkled in some, good kid. We wish him the best. Hopefully things are going well. And I think that was the boat we were in. But this narrative, when you heard he wasn't playing, just sounded like he was transferring and entering the portal. And, a little bit weird to do it at this point, but it sort of made sense. And I think we were both on that same page of like, it didn't work out here.
It's your first thought, man, right? It's your first thought.
And I just think, like, first of all, I feel like that was handled incredibly weirdly by Syracuse. To give the info to Donna, whoever leaked the info to Donna or told Donna DeToto that, Benny's not playing, Benny's not in the Dome today. Like, is it not the same amount of effort to say, hey, Benny's taking a personal day? It's the same number of words. And then you save a guy. Hopefully Benny doesn't use Twitter all too often. Because Twitter was not a very kind place to Benny Williams today. So hopefully he doesn't go scrolling because that can't be good for any decisions that need to be made. I don't know right now. It's conflicting because in a traditional year, you play a top 10 team as close as Syracuse just did. And yes, you're a little frustrated they didn't close it out, but you're sort of okay with it. You're a little bit excited. Relieved, like, all right, this team can battle, this team can grind. The resume, as Pat points out, is so weak right now that there is nothing. There is really, like, it doesn't matter what you do in a game unless you win. That is the point that this resume has reached. And I'm looking right now at KenPom, and the KenPom wins, right? You have one win inside the KenPom top 100. One singular win to Virginia Tech, who redeemed themselves and then some against you a few days ago, right? Like, this is tough. And let me ask you this, because you didn't think it the first time, but Syracuse has blown leads in both of their Saturday, Monday turnarounds this year. Is that a coincidence, or am I overthinking?
You're overthinking. I still think you're overthinking.
All right, fine. Talk for a little bit.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. What was the other game? Miami?
That
one was on the road, so I guess they came back from Virginia Tech, so there's still merit there. I don't think that's anything.
Also, how about what a genius idea by the ACC? Let's release the football schedule mid-game. You got a marquee, in quotes. You got a big ACC matchup, and you know what we're going to do mid-game? Let's release a football schedule. ACC. Great decision makers. I don't actually mean this, but I'm going to say it because this is the kind of mood I'm in. I don't actually mean this. The ACC was busy early on releasing the football schedule. And then once they were done with that, they looked at the score. And that's when they called the refs to switch it up. That was a joke. I don't actually mean it. I had to say it.
This guy, Owen.
All right. That was it, though. I have a shout-out.
What? You have a shout-out?
Yes.
What is
First of all, Virginia airballed the free throw tonight.
They did.
And who else would I be shouting out besides the man that led the airball chant, one John Bull Ajak?
JBA?
Who does that?
JBA
Who
does.
does that? John Bull was on his feet chanting. It was awesome. I couldn't believe it. And at that point, things were actually going well for the team. So it was really cool to see. A lot of fun. Shout out Jalen Hurts, because I sort of feel like he almost felt like a couple of years ago, Luke May hit a buzzer beater for UNC and then showed up to his 8 a.m. the next day. And that's sort of what this felt like. That's what this felt like for Hurts. Like he wins the NFC Championship game yesterday, and then today was like him coming to class, and everyone's like, wow, that's really cool. That was nice. We got to reach out, see what he says. But Marcus Adams was at the game. So
I saw that.
The official was happening yesterday. I think he got here on Sunday. Spent some time with the coaches, the team, the trainer. Same thing going on today. I think someone released his schedule. I think he was going to dinner.
I saw that,
and then he's got an early flight out tomorrow morning. Good for him. We'll try and reach out, see what he thought, get any info from him about the trip.
I think we can get him back.
Yeah. I mean, tough ending, but you saw a good game. The crowd was really involved, which is what you want out of games with recruits. To see a fired up crowd and
I will say this,
angry with the refs was fun, and the crowd getting up for some big plays. So a good game for recruiting purposes, I would say, though.
Last year for the Duke game that was in the Dome, that was like the last Boeheim-Krzyzewski game in the Dome where everybody and their mother was there. I remember that Justin Taylor was there, Chris Bell was there, and Judah Mintz was there. And I think Bell and Taylor had already committed, and of course Judah hadn't. And I was standing on the floor, and I remember seeing Judah, and the look in his eyes, he couldn't believe the moment, with 30,000 plus fans. Wow. And obviously there's nothing I could report there, but in that moment I was like, I bet you he's coming. Yeah, he was looking around like, oh my goodness. And hopefully Marcus Adams had or the same better game for Marcus Adams than it was for Judah last year. That game, I cannot believe that was the game that might have pushed him in Syracuse's direction after they lost by 30 to Duke.
That's awesome, though.
But that was a cool moment. So maybe Marcus Adams had a similar moment.
Bones?
Yep.
Let me take a look at the box score one more time. See if there's a shout out.
This has been an off the rails episode.
It is. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm going to shout him out because I thought he played well. I liked Symir's minutes tonight. I think he did a decent job. Controlled the pace when he was in there, did enough. Sometimes with Joe in there, it was a little stagnant. So I'll give Symir a quick little shout there. And I'm also going to say this, and this is a little bit rogue. Jesse Edwards was on my nerves for a while tonight. Just didn't quite have it for too long, and I wanted things to improve, and they did for a 6-point stretch, and then they went back. So I'm going to keep a close eye on Jesse this week, and then against BC this weekend, I believe, too. So I'm keeping a close eye on him because I've got some lingering thoughts at the moment.
All right. Well, we'll revisit those lingering thoughts. I'll ask you about them later on this week. But that's all the time we have on Locked On Syracuse today. Thanks for making it your first listen. For your next, check out the brand new pod, Locked On College Basketball, with experts Isaac and Andy. They'll bring you everything you need to know on and off the court, plus hear from big-name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. I'm Matt Bonaparte. He is Owen Valentine. We'll see you later.